Okay, the live streaming is downloading.
Okay, it says meeting is now live streaming.
Okay, we should be good. Alrighty, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Harford County Delegation meeting on February the 11th. The meeting is now open, and I'm going to ask Delegate Lauren Ericon to actually start us in the prayer.
All right, bow your heads if you wish. Heavenly Father, please bless all the members here and all the staff who are working hard to listen to the will of the people down in Annapolis right now, and bless our constituents who are struggling through some of the darkest times in their lives. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And then we'll do the pledge, and that's going to be led by Delegate Griffith.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is working.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And again, if everybody would stay on mute until you were actually speaking would be great. That cuts down all of the feedback. We are going to call the meeting to order. Opening remarks. Again, welcome. And we do have to hopefully work in a speedy fashion because we do have a lot of things going on today on the floor at 10 o'clock. So we have to be there, and those in the annex need a little bit more extra time because we have to log into those iPads and all of that. So it's another challenge that we have to deal with. So hopefully we can get done in a reasonable time. On the agenda, we have to approve the minutes first. So do I have a motion to approve minutes? Okay.
Shalega seconds.
Shalega second, and just everybody with your voice, just say aye with your
Aye.
aye. Thank you. Okay. All right. So that takes care of that. We're moving on to the Board of Education term of appointed members, which is HB 283. We left last week's meeting with a motion to the motion was to reconsider the bill as with an amendment, that the amendment was drawn up with a combination of Delegate Impalaria and Delegate McComas. I believe the motion or the amendment has Delegate McComas's name on it, so I'm not sure there. So right now, I think what we have on the floor is the bill as amended, and then we can have a motion and then a second on that. So that's where we stand right now. So Delegate McComas, would you like?
Hang on a sec. I have a question first.
Uh-huh.
So I've heard from 3 of my colleagues that they feel they didn't have time to read and examine and go over the amendment. And also I have getting feedback from, different constituency. I had a woman call me at 9:30 last night that she would like to be able to bring this back to her people. She's fully in support of it, but they would like to have that conversation. I see we have a letter from the school board, or not the school board, from the PTA, that they would like to have some input. We're early in this, and I really think this is a very important issue. So I don't see any reason to vote on this to next week when people will have a good chance to look at it. I mean, I know the county executive has sent the letter. I would like to ask him personally what has changed his opinion when he was always a supporter of a full school board. So that's my feeling on it. I think that, I would like my colleagues to have the time to fully understand and go back and talk to their people, and, which is always the way it's done. Amendments are basically roughly voted on as we did the other day.
Okay, well, Delegate and Player, I mean, that was pretty much our point to begin with when this amendment was actually, brought forward, that there just isn't enough time with being here in Annapolis this year to, to move forward with this without the public input.
Well, no, that's not the
You
case.
just proved, I think you just proved that
No, the
point.
point is, if we don't pass it this year, as you know, Delegate Riley, or maybe you don't, if you don't this year, it cannot happen for 6 years. So the question is,
I get that.
should this be done now, or should we be honest to the voters and tell them, this won't happen for 6 more years? So I think it's before us now. I think we have plenty of time. We're early in the session. It's an issue that has been widely supported throughout the county. And in past years, like I said, we were forced to take a compromise that we really didn't want. So, you know, that's it. So, I mean, to be honest with you, the way it works right now is you have 6 elected, and then there could be in those 6, 4 who have a certain agenda and want the school system to go in one direction. And then the governor can appoint 3 more to go against what the voters of the county wanted. So that's the problem with the hybrid school board. Even after the citizens vote, the governor has the right to overturn the decision of what they want and take in a different direction if that's what he wants to do, because he has 3 votes when they're beholden to him.
Okay, Delegate Imperia, that's good. I have a couple of people that have their hands up. So Delegate Johnson, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The amendment was just written, and I think people do need a chance to look at the amendment, the public. You talked about the public weighing in. So I'd like to make a motion to table this until next week. Let the public take a look at the amendment and weigh in on this issue.
And I
Okay,
would second that amendment.
thank you.
That
Delegate
motion.
Shalega has her hand up. Delegate Shalega,
Unmute.
take you off mute.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I just would like to make the comment that I did have a chance to reach out to the NAACP and stakeholders that were not in favor of this however many years ago. I mean, it was like 12 years ago. You know, we have people that were in high school when this was last considered that now have kids in school who are clearly now in a different place where they should be able to weigh in on this. And those stakeholders that I spoke to earlier this week said they were not in favor of this bill as that Delegate Impellieri and McComas have drafted as it is, with a fully county-wide member, you know, the limitations on supporting to run for that office, and you know, the other challenges with running county-wide. That was one of their concerns, along with many others. So I, you know, would appreciate, like many of us said last week, that it is irresponsible to pass a measure before we read it. So I'm glad we got to read it 2 days ago. And prior to moving on, we really need to make sure the public gets to see what this concept is, and passing something without wide public input and knowledge is irresponsible.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Shalega. And I do want to point out, you know, I know that Delegate Impellieri and Delegate McComas had mentioned that public input would happen because we have bill hearings in the House and the Senate. I do want to remind you that this body did pass HB 283, and that bill had a bill hearing already in the House. So when this amendment, this huge amendment, which totally drastically changes the entire bill that was put forth to the committee, will not have any public input. So it is cross-filed in the Senate, so we'll have a little bit there. But again, as what we've been saying for the last 3 weeks, this bill should have been its own bill and moved forward that way. And then just, you know, let us move on with what we've already passed and have already heard on the floor. So I do believe Delegate Impellieri hand is up.
Well, real quickly, let me tell you right now, this body needs to start acting like adults. Name calling, intimidation. It's got to stop. It's out of control.
Amen.
So I'm sorry, but the proper procedure for those who are watching, amendments are offered. The council or the secretary, after they're voted on, then drafts them. There's no bill been passed, an amendment's been passed. and everyone gets to see the finished bill. Everyone gets to see, it's part of the process. This is the way it's done. We don't have an amendment.
Delegate,
saying, "Oh, we can't
excuse me,
vote
hold on one second. Delegate
I'm
Flair.
sorry, no one, and
I'm-
Delegate, hold on, Delegate Raleigh, you,
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, I have a motion on the floor.
Okay, Delegate
Delegate
Johnson, what
Raleigh,
is,
you and I have followed.
what
the
is your
process.
motion?
Oh my God.
Delegate
Again-
Johnson, what is your
Again, Madam
motion?
Speaker, again, Madam Speaker, the motion is, since we got this amendment 2 days ago, to table this vote until the public gets a chance to read and look at the amendment and weigh in on the issue as amended.
Delegate Impelari has seconded that motion.
Okay. So we have a first and a second, and Cindy, if you could read that motion, we would appreciate it.
Motion that I had was to table this until next week to give everyone a chance to read it, to go over it. Is that correct, Delegate Johnson?
Yes, that's correct, and for a public weigh-in.
Okay. Just to clarify, what is the public weigh-in?
Public weigh-in is.
Are you having,
It's to give the public a chance to contact us, let us know how they
Okay.
feel about it. I know
Okay.
in my district, we have 45,000 voters. In Harford County, we have 257,000 folks. So give them a chance to look at the amendment and let us know what they think. Thank you, Madam Chair.
okay.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
question.
Delegate Arkan.
How will they know? We're not having, I mean, we had a interim meeting about putting spirits in a retirement home. How are they going to know that we have this bill happening? Are we going to have a meeting? Are we hosting a hearing? How are they going to know what we're doing?
I would leave that up to Madam Chairman. I'm going to put it on my website. I know that.
The PTA. Why am I keep getting it? The PTA knows about it. The Open Harford County Schools knows about it. The superintendent knows about it. The county executive knows about it. So, and of course, anybody who's been emailing us that don't belong into those groups but want their kids back in school, they know about it. So I have not been hiding the information from anybody. I've been sharing it with everyone to pass it around and get the feedback. A woman texted me last night or messaged me, and I called her at 9:30 last night, and she had a nice long conversation with me, and then she wanted to mess Delegate Griffin and talk to him about it. So people know what's going on. So, and I see.
But that's not how we usually do.
Got
Usually we
it.
do public input with a meeting. Now that's kind of how we operate usually, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
I do see a hand up by Delegate McComas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say I want to thank Charity Scott. She did a yeoman's work doing the amendment, and obviously there's been some feedback, and I've heard it, and I do agree that having someone run countywide at large was not a good idea, so that would need amended. So, legislation's never perfect. It needs several cracks. My only concern is, and I want to ask Charity this, the Senate has the bill, okay, the senators. Now, I know that Senator Gallion has had to hold off in, having his hearing on the bill. The question is, okay, we're working one way here, possibly, okay, and it's going to be tabled and everybody wants input, and that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with the table. My question is if the Senate goes ahead and passes the bill, and let's say we go in a different direction, all right, or we may decide that we basically want to just stay the course and basically make sure that our bill is the same as theirs, that they pass, so that both of them pass. There's not going to be any problem, is there? To do that? So in other words, we don't have to rush through this. We can get the public input. We can say, okay, we really need to study this further. All right. I'm good with that. I'm glad that we've got the discussion. I'm glad folks have weighed in. Obviously, we need more people to weigh in. So I guess what I'm saying is that even though, some people have solicited feedback and everything from different groups, we really haven't heard from John Q. Citizen, who doesn't belong to a particular group. So all I want to know is, can the senators go ahead with what they've got now? And I assume that Delegate Riley's bill that she introduced and had the hearing on is exactly what Senator Gallion has right now, so that at least they can go forward. So at least we can move forward on that, and then we can still have the discussion on ours. And they could amend, let's say it's everybody agrees that we should have, maybe just one appointed, which would be the person, one appointed. So it goes down from a 9 board to a 7 board, and the one is appointed by the governor, and that has continuity.
Okay,
as
Delegate
opposed to running.
McComas, it's a moot point to talk about changing the amendment that we currently have in front of us. I mean,
I don't think it's a
No,
moot
it's not.
point,
No, it's
Madam
not.
Chair. I just think
That's why we
let-
have discussion.
let's have an open process is all. And
Right.
we are,
I'm
we
okay
are.
with,
And
I'm
that's
okay with
exactly our
tabling
point.
this and.
And to answer your
Well,
question, Delegate
There's
McComas,
already a motion, excuse me, there's already a motion on the floor. So Delegate McComas, you'll have to wait on that. There's already a motion on the floor. I have 2 more hands up. I have Delegate Shalega, and then I also have Delegate Lasanti. So Delegate Lashega.
I'm going to let Delegate Lasante go first because she's been trying to get your attention.
Okay.
Lasante, put your raised hand up in the participants. I think
Yeah, she
like you do
put in the
committee.
chat that she can't, it doesn't have that option for her. So Delegate Lasanti.
It doesn't have an option. It just has a clapping option, unfortunately. But thank you very much. I was just going to speak to the motion on the floor, and thank you. And I have had an opportunity to receive a lot of input from different people, and there's been some comments made that we haven't discussed this issue for several years, which is really inaccurate. There has been 11 bills in this legislature since 2007 affecting the Harford County School Board. So for those of us that have been in office for that amount of time, this issue has been discussed quite often. And to say that we have not received public input on the issue of the school board particularly since this pandemic, we have received, at least I have received, a tremendous amount of input on the accountability in particular of the school board. But to speak to this, the particular amendment in question, the stakeholders that I have talked to and the written input that we've received all boils down to one issue. It's not whether we should have an elected school board. We already have an elected school board based on the 6 councilmatic districts. The issue becomes of the at-large member. Now, the county council chairman is elected at large. So the precedent is there, but I do understand for the school board that people have issues with that, which is a simple fix. You maintain one appointment and you allow the school board to choose their chairman. Very simple fix. But I am very happy to allow our colleagues and the public, whoever wants to weigh in, to hold this off and as a courtesy to everybody to read the bill as it has been amended and get input. And to the question raised by Delegate McComas, can the Senate move forward? We are a bicameral legislature. They act separately from us. To Delegate Ericon, you asked about how do we get input. I think you know, you've been in the legislature now 3 years. You know that we amend things in delegation, we amend them in committee, we amend them on the floor, we amend them in various different ways. So that is part of the process. For those people who are listening, I know that this has been almost an education in our legislative process. This year, we are much more transparent than we have ever been. This is the first time we are allowed, that the General Assembly has established a process. We are on YouTube all the time. Our delegations meetings are completely transparent. Our committee hearings are transparent. People are getting information real time. You're able to contact all of us. Sometimes though, we have to step back and understand the entire legislative process. So I invite.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Lasanti. So we've heard from Delegate McComas, Delegate Lasanti, Delegate Impleri, and Delegate Johnson. The motion on the table is what we are supposed to be discussing, okay, which was basically you wanted to table it so that you can look at the
which I did. Thank you very much.
That's fine. But the discussion that you actually moved, all four of you are moving the discussion to actually changing your own amendment. So
No,
now
no, they
the
are not.
motion is
No.
on the table and we need to move forward.
No,
with
ma'am,
that
I
vote.
answered
I
the
have-
question. No,
Okay,
ma'am. No.
I have two more people on the screen, Delegate Shalega. And then I have Delegate Archon, and then we will move on with the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do hope we get public input, but I am concerned that there are a lot of people that struggle with broadband. We know in rural parts of Harford County, there are people that are really having trouble getting broadband and following this. There are parents that are struggling, working, homeschooling their kids because of virtual learning. And the vast, vast majority of people across Harford County probably have no idea we're having this discussion. So I think it's myopic to think because, there's people on Facebook, talking about this. And we really need public input, not just the loudest people talking about it. So I hope, Delegate Johnson, that you will look for that, and I will do that myself. And we've had other suggestions just now about getting rid of the state, countywide, or allowing one person to be appointed. So, it seems like there's more on the table than just this amendment. And I think it's responsible to let the whole public weigh in.
Legislative.
Thank you, Delegate Shalega. Delegate Arkan.
Yeah, I appreciate Delegate Lasanti explaining how amendments work. I wasn't confused about that. I was confused why we weren't having a meeting of some kind to let the public that maybe isn't on Facebook all day long, which is most of my voters who don't spend their time on Facebook, for them to weigh in. And I think a meeting is the best way to do that. Thanks.
We can do that. I'm happy to do that.
Okay, Delegate Griffith, you will be the last question.
And very briefly, I'm just not sure the urgency of this particular matter, because our focus right now for members of the delegation is how do we get our kids back in school right now this year. This amendment wouldn't even help our kids get back in school till after the new board is elected and appointed in December of 2022. So this wouldn't even get a single kid back in school until 2023. But I don't know why the urgency on this, and I think we do have the opportunity to take our time a little bit and be thoughtful. So thank you.
Okay, so I'm getting word. So after listening to this conversation, I believe we've come to the point to where I believe that the motion, if the first and the second, okay, delegates that made the first and the second, I'm told that the better motion after listening to the discussion would be that you should make a motion to reconsider the amendment, since you're all talking about changing the current one that we actually have.
No, that's not the motion.
Okay,
No,
all right,
that's the
so we'll
motion.
stick with the same.
Because
Ask Johnson.
whether a motion passes or not, that motion can be re-amended. So we're not in
Exactly.
discussion because you want to,
Okay,
now you
we're
want to
fine.
amend.
I'm fine with that. I
So
just wanted to
we're
put
just,
that
let's
out.
table and get the discussion going.
Just
So
wanted to
that's
throw
what
that
we're
out
at.
there. It's your decision.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Delegate Johnson, just to be clear, so we're getting ready to vote. Delegate Johnson, could you
The
read?
motion on the floor stands, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. What was that, Delegate
He
Johnson?
said the motion on the floor
Motion on the
stands.
floor
Okay.
stands, Madam Chair.
Great. All right. So Cindy, can you read us the motion so we know that what we're voting on?
Delegate Johnson, can you restate the motion, please?
Yes, the motion is to table this until next week to give the public and the interested parties chance to read the amendment, since we just got it 2 days ago, and weigh in on the issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we have a first, we have a second, and Cindy, if you could take the roll call, please.
Delegate McComas,
Aye.
Delegate Arakan,
Aye.
Delegate Griffith,
Yes.
Delegate Implaria,
Aye.
Delegate Johnson,
Aye.
Delegate Lasanti,
Yes.
Delegate Shalega,
Yes.
Delegate Riley.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. So now that we're finished with HB 283, we're going to move on to new business, which is 984. And that bill is sponsored by Delegate Impalaria. So Delegate Impalaria, if you could introduce your bill for us.
Okay. I think we all know that the Blair area is getting oversaturated with liquor licenses. And the alcohol issue is something that has changed over the year, because when a liquor store was just a small liquor store for refrigerator, now you have a new liquor store coming in and it has a large amount of alcohol they can sell. Just recently in Bel Air, there was a request for a liquor license that would have taken up the space of 8 liquor stores. So what this amendment would do in our liquor association, the board has come to us repeatedly saying, we don't have any money. We don't have any money. You know, you got to let us raise taxes. You got to let us raise fees. You got to, and of course we've repeatedly said no to that. So what this would do is, number one, the liquor board would set a schedule for what areas, whether they were oversaturated with licenses or undersaturated with licenses, they could set a limit, giving the license holders an opportunity to buy and own their license, like in Harford County, Baltimore County. So if that new liquor store wanted to come in, they just couldn't go and twist arms at the board and get a license. They would actually have to go and try to buy that license from an existing business, because right now we're trading success for failure. You know, their businesses are going good. There's too many licenses. Businesses fail because we're giving out too many licenses. Plus, it gives the liquor board the opportunity to sell these licenses and bring in revenue. And that revenue can go into the bank and they'll have plenty of money and interest to continue running their operation without asking for any more money from the county. I think they just had to borrow $50,000 to make their operation work. They could sell 4 licenses and have $50,000. So that's the concept. I see it at the liquor board while I talked to Cheryl Davis Cole, and she said, it is something we need to work with. It is something that we need to do. Then of course, Mr. Tully wrote a letter that, you know, we have no interest in this whatsoever. And I don't have a problem if he's not interested in it. I mean, the license holders are, but if he doesn't have an interest in it and he's a one-man veto, then so be it. But the next time they come in and ask for money, my answer is going to be, we've given you ways to get money. And so, you know, that's basically what the bill does.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Impalaria. But just to be fair, the letter that we got, I believe, was from the entire board, not just one person.
Well, it was his signature on it, so.
Well, because he's the chair or
Right.
whatever. So that was, they had a vote. And so they all voted against the current bill that is before us. So
right. And just to be fair, that none of them ever picked up the phone to call me and talk to me or get my input, or call to talk to you and get your input. So there was zero input from them. But anyway, it's a concept that's out there, just like the concept that I offered before the COVID, that liquor licenses should be based on what the amount of alcohol you sold. And now we have people screaming who are paying license fees and we're never allowed to open. So, and the liquor board says, oh, we should let Ripken not pay his fee, but they can't because they don't have that process. Ripken's fee would have been based on the amount of alcohol they sold. They wouldn't have paid for their license. So just.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have some hands up. So Delegate Arcan.
I just want to make a motion to move unfavorable.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll withdraw the bill and save time so we can move on to more important business. But it's out there, and now you know it's out there, and it's an option. So when they ask for money again, say we gave you an option.
Okay, so Delegate Impalaria, to just so that we're clear, you have withdrawn the bill, or you're going?
Yes, I've withdrawn the bill, correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we don't have to discuss that any longer. And we are short on time, and I know folks want to get to our next meeting at 9:30. Thank you all for the conversation and working on the bills. We look forward to next week to discuss and hopefully be ready for HB 283 for the agenda. Do I have
to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second.
Second. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good day.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.